Hi, this is Stacia, and it's time to get on with my climb to 1800. So, unfortunately, when you climb, sometimes you slip. So, I'm back under 1700. Um, but, I think one of the keys to improving is persistence. So, even if you lose 2 or 3 games in a row, you have to get back up on that horse and keep going. So, that's what I'm doing. And this game, I played someone rated 1637. I was rated 1697. Okay, so e4, e5, knight f3, knight c6, and bishop to c4. This is the Italian game. And against this, I'm playing the move knight f6, as recommended by Grandmaster Jan Gustafsson. Knight g5 is the knight attack. And now d5. It's the only real move here. It attacks the bishop. And when they take the pawn, we play knight to a5. That's sort of the point. Now they don't have discoveries like knight takes and push the pawn, because we simply would take the bishop. So, okay, bishop check, pawn to c6, takes. This is all theory, and I've had many games in these lines by now. And I'm always curious what my opponent will do here. Sometimes they make bad moves, like bishop a4 loses immediately. Queen f3 is really interesting, and I have an exchange sacrifice line against that. But the main two moves are bishop g3 and bishop e2. That's what the super GMs play. And this is the move I play as well, bishop d3. And so the idea here is that when we play h6, now the knight, who he normally wouldn't have the e4 square, but now it's defended, so he does have the e4 square. So, okay, I play h6. He did jump into e4. And now I believe this is my plan. So I did that. See, I think when I'm white, I actually welcome, if black invites me to trade off my piece, I will usually do that. It will slow down black's attack a little bit and get rid of this awkward knight, who's always a problem, because f5 will come eventually. Okay, knight d5 and a3. Yeah, I think this move is a mistake, so I'm going to go ahead and put the opening book up for a minute, because I want to see how this normally goes. I didn't remember during the game. I knew a3 was probably wrong, and it is. Okay. The main move is to castle here. And after castles, yeah, I kind of recall this. I think black just develops normally. Bishop to e7. Wow, knight g3 is the main move. Not sure why. Probably to take the sting out of f5. Black castles. Bishop f5 is played. Oh, that explains knight to g3. This is kind of a desperate plan to trade off pieces. Yeah, because the bishop is awkward on d3. It cannot really stay there. It's blocking the d pawn. So apparently there's this knight g3 plan to trade off the bishop. Wow, that's pretty cool. Yeah, and then bishop a6 is the answer, saying, no thanks, I don't want to trade. And then d3 saying, your bishop's not very good there. Okay, so that, from what I can tell, that's the main line, but there's very few games in the database from here. So I don't know what you guys do, but I go into ChessBase at that point and look at actual game continuations. If I want to learn more. Let's go back to the game though. Okay, so he played the move a3, and now I'm going to turn the engine on. Well, not yet. Let's see what happens. All right. Yeah, I played knight to f4 right away. I liked this because it attacks something. It's a bit of a fork even. And it kind of like begs the question, do you want to play bishop f1? But I don't think the computer's impressed. The computer says, wow, it wants bishop e7 or knight to b7. Yeah, and that's the funny thing about these positions is you're down a pawn and it feels like you should attack immediately or play aggressive, but really black should just complete development in a lot of cases. I did play here. Wow, and it does say that bishop f1 and white is just fine. Well, it must be because now g3, bishop g2 could be played with tempo. That's my guess. Yeah, I'm looking down the line. That's exactly what happens. So bishop f1 is possible. I didn't look far enough to see that my knight would get kicked from f4 like that. So, lesson learned. All right. But fortunately for me, my opponent did not castle. They played queen to f3. Or I mean, didn't play bishop f1. Yeah, I thought if they castle, I think this is just good for me now. Like, I'm going to win a pawn back. I have a queen wedge. Oh, there is knight b to c3 here. And the computer says it's equal. Okay, but like I would play this position. Like this position's okay. I play from here. It actually says instead of taking the pawn, play bishop to e6. Wow. I guess we're saying we can take this pawn whenever we want, so we're not in a hurry. Maybe we're going to do... Oh, we might be doing that. The rook's trapped. If he comes here, we take the bishop and then take the rook. Wow. Nice little trick. Something like that happens in the game, actually. So let's continue. Knight to f4, queen to f3. Defending both things, but now I really like knight d3 check. I guess his idea was take with the queen. I actually think he should take with a pawn here because taking with the queen allows this with the queens off the board. And now I've successfully deflected this pawn, which means my knight is suddenly not bad on a5 anymore. So I jumped in. Now the rook's not trapped, but the problem is it's a fork. Neither piece is defended. So I think this just wins. Computer agrees. But let's look at my conversion because I really don't think I did that good of a job. All right, I took the rook. Yeah, and this is a really interesting part of the game because like, okay, I'm winning, right? But I'm also not developed at all. And I was so tempted to save my knight, and I did. Turns out it's the best move. I'm glad to see that because that goes against principle. You know, I probably should develop. Yeah, I don't know about that move. I was expecting rook to e1 here. Just, you know, eye the pawn. Computer says play f5. Wow. I really doubt I would play that move. And then go king f7. Wow. Yeah, the other move is bishop d6. I could imagine doing this move. Now I'd be afraid of this. But we can take it, so no problem. Huh. All right, well, the computer is playing very precisely, I will say, but very risky play for a human. So after knight to a4, I figured the bishop is actually trapped, which means I can take it when I want and force a recapture. And so I thought I should wait until the rook moves So I developed bishop to e7. Yeah, it's fine. Rook e1. Now I thought taking the bishop might be good, so I took it. Computer says it's fine. He did take back. And now my pawn is under attack. But I thought, go ahead and take my pawn if you want, because I'll play bishop d7, pinning you. And if you come here skewering me, I don't think it matters. I take a knight, you take a bishop. Trades are good for me, so I think this is winning. Computer agrees. So he didn't take the pawn. He instead played h3. Now I just want to get coordinated. I attacked the pawn. He jumped his knight in. Yeah, and so my opponent tried to just play safe here. Just stick his knight on c5 and just try to hold. I took once. I'm putting pressure on the pawn. He defended it. I'm going to put more pressure on the pawn. He only has one way to defend, and that's with the king. So that's what happened. Yeah, and it's like, okay, so what should I do to win this game? I don't really know. I brought my king up. Yeah, and then I did this. So this is a mistake, but I mean, it's still winning. It's hard to say in human terms if it's a mistake, but I have to admit, it feels like a weak move. The reason being, well, honestly, I thought I was going to win a pawn and I didn't. So yeah, I'll call it a mistake in that case. Takes, check. And then I realized, wait a minute, my pawns are forked. I forgot about this one. I was planning this move and forgot about my e-pawn. So I defended the e-pawn and let him take my weak pawn. I mean, I'm up a bishop, so I'm still winning. This forces the king to come backwards. Only then do I come back. And you know I'm planning that. He defended his pawn. Time to bring the king up. Check. Trades are good for me, I think. Okay, so we got this position, and this is a winning position. I just want to see how I did on the conversion. I was nervous that he might trade all the pawns off and get a draw. Yeah, I wonder if instead of a5, should I bring my king up? Computer says yeah. So a5 is okay, though. I was stopping this move. Bring the king up in the endgame. Good choice by white. He wants to trade pawns. Then he's more likely to get a draw. I think king up is the right choice. Okay, play like this. Should I take with a king? I should. No, computer likes pawn. I liked pawn too. The problem with taking with the king, I thought, was this move. Not sure I like this for me. Now he can put his pawns on dark squares, and so I played this way instead. I like that my pawn is controlling these squares, and then my bishop can come and build a little wall. Yeah, and it's like here, I'm just wondering what to do. I'd love to like run up and take pawns and then queen. But then I don't know if he gets in or not like that. So he played to hold it. He probably knew he was lost here. Yeah, king back. I can't imagine that's a good move. So I brought my king up. Now if he checks me, I get to invade and win the f pawn. So he came back. Yeah, and I think, you know, when you have an extra bishop, the nice thing about it is I'm able to keep my king where he is if I want, but white is unable to do that. So like I'm kind of doing this so he can't move his pawns either. and then he'll just end up in zigzag, and that's kind of what happens. Push, takes. Okay, I've got the opposition. My H pawn and my A pawn are both very strong because it's one pawn stopping two. Jeremy Selman calls that a pawn freeze. Yeah, and now that I have the opposition, whichever way he goes, I go the other way. Yeah. And I have a bishop that I can sacrifice, so. He went ahead and resigned here. But I thought it was an interesting game. It didn't put me back over 1700. I was actually like 1683 before this game. But I'm back up to 1697, and it renewed my confidence a little bit. So I'm going to keep on going until I get 1800. I think that I can. I think I just have to like be persistent and keep playing these training games. Hope you enjoyed the game, and I'll be back with more chess. Thanks, bye.